9:10 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. Today is Sunday, March 13th, 2022, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well today. It's been a very busy weekend, and taught online classes this weekend also. So we have some great sessions. We'll give you some information about that, and I'll tell you about a new online course that we have starting up next Saturday, Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization, where I'll profile over 100 African women all throughout history. So we'll talk about that as well. Well, on today's show, on my Thursday show, we talked about, we're on Monday through Friday here on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. So on Thursday, we talked about Ryan Coogler. And Ryan Coogler, director of Black Panther, back in January of 2022, he went to a branch of Bank of America in Buckhead in Atlanta, and he wanted to withdraw $12,000 from his own bank account. Okay, and the police ended up being called. It was just totally ridiculous what happened. All right, we talked about this here on the show. Well, we talked about it on Roland Martin Unfiltered also. I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday. I'm a panelist usually each Friday. So we talked about that on Friday, and I'm going to share some excerpts with you as well. Good from what happened on Roland Martin Unfiltered also. Okay. But Good Morning America, I was doing more research on this story for today's show. Good Morning America has a really, really good segment. In the segment from Good Morning America, they actually show some of the bank employees. Now, the employees are African American. The branch manager, the woman who called the police on Ryan Coogler, they're African American. And this really, really could have ended up being a terrible situation. Luckily, everything was handled to Ryan Coogler's satisfaction when Bank of America corporate got involved. But I'll let you hear what happened with that. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that, and then also Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett. We talked about this on a Thursday show as well. We know Jussie Smollett was sentenced to 150 days in Cook County Jail. He got 30 months probation. The first 150 days he has to serve in Cook County Jail. So it's obvious that Judge James Lynn had it in for Jussie Smollett. Okay, so we talked about this on a Thursday show, but on Roland Martin Unfiltered, we also discussed it there. And Roland actually interviewed two of Jussie's brothers, and they're saying that he's totally innocent, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, you can believe what you want to believe. All right, I've said, we talked about this Friday. I think he did it. And I think he's going with the bit, but 150 days is ridiculous. He shouldn't do any time in jail. Okay, he shouldn't do any time in jail. I mean, 150 days is. I mean, I said this here on the show. I said this here on the show on Thursday. When you look at Judge Regina Chu, when she sentenced Kim Potter in killing Dante Wright, Judge Regina Chu had more sympathy for Kim Potter than Judge James Lynn had for Jussie Smollett. So it's obvious here. It's obvious. It really seemed. I watched everything live. Okay, I watched the sentencing live, and it seems like Judge James Lynn had some personal grievances with Jussie Smollett. Okay, it seemed really personal. So we'll discuss this here. I'll let you hear what happened on Roland Martin Unfiltered also. Okay. All right. So then also on today's show, I want to deal with, we're going to give you an update on what's going on in Ukraine, okay, with the attack from Russia. All right. We'll give you an update on what's going on there. But also, we're going to look at a different perspective. Now, we talked about the plight of African students, okay, trying to get out. Students from Nigeria, students from Ghana, different things like this, right? But something that is talked about much less, and I've seen a few segments on this, Charles Blow on the Black News Channel, also Tiffany Cross on MSNBC. I've seen a few segments here and there. How does the Russia-Ukraine conflict affect African countries? How does the Russia-Ukraine conflict affect African countries? Okay, I'm going to share a segment with you that deals with this. There was also, so I've seen a few articles dealing with this as well. Okay, there was a piece from BBC News that dealt with this also, and I'll share that with you as well. Okay, so, and one of the things I've been looking at some different articles and some different news coverage, and one of the things that comes up is how conflicts in African countries don't get the amount of coverage, nearly anywhere near the amount of coverage that this Ukraine-Russia conflict is getting. Now, yes, this Ukraine-Russian conflict can trigger World War III. That is true, because there was bombing that happened overnight, and it was about 15 miles away from the Ukraine-Poland border. Poland is part of NATO, North American Treaty Organization. Poland is part of NATO. If one of those bombs from Russia, one of those missiles, whatever, if that goes into Poland territory, Poland is going to respond, and all the NATO nations, including the US, are duty bound to defend every inch of NATO territory. That could very well launch World War III. So we see that the latest update, one of the latest updates, Russia assault military. That's not what I wanted. They just updated this. An airstrike near Ukraine's border with Poland killed 35 and injured 134 others. And Russia is apparently seeking military aid from China as well. Okay, so we'll talk some about this. But how does this Russia-Ukraine conflict affect African countries? Okay, well, so we'll discuss that. And then March 10th, 2022 was the 12th year anniversary of me hosting the African History Network show. So this is our anniversary week and weekend and all of that. So I started out on the Harambe Radio Network March 10th, 2010. So this past March 10th, this week is our 12th year anniversary of me hosting the African History Network show. And it's actually 6 years. April of this year will be 6 years of me hosting this show on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. So we're celebrating our 12th year anniversary also. We got some applause. Okay. So we're hosting our 12th year anniversary as well. Okay, now the calling number is 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600 if you have a question or comment. On the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events in history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, to 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, to 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register for the online classes I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. Also, you can support the African History Network. So we definitely need your support. We're here 6 days a week. $ the AHN show through Cash App. $ the AHN show through Cash App. Also through PayPal.me /the AHN show. PayPal.me /the AHN show. All right. So we've been here 12 years and we keep going. And then also on PayPal as well. And we have the information here on the homepage of our website. You can register for my online classes. On Saturdays is Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Sundays, it's from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement of Black Power, 1865 to 1968. So the classes are discounted, on sale $60 each, regularly $130. We have a bundle pack. You can register for both classes for $100. We're coming up on a break. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 a.m. Superstation Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. All right. How's everybody doing? Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. We're on commercial break. Okay, back from break in 4 minutes. How's everybody doing today? Back from break in 3 minutes. Stand by, everybody. Back from break in 1 minute. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, March 13th, 2022, and we are live. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. All right. We're going to go to clip number 1 here in just a second. Jalen dealing with Ryan Coogler. This is from Good Morning America. So we talked about this on Thursday's show, and I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday, and we discussed it as well. We're on early. Our show on Sunday is on earlier than my show during the week. Monday through Friday, I'm on 11 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time. Sundays, we're on 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. So a lot of people get to hear the show on Sunday that don't get a chance to hear it during the week. New York Times has a good article dealing with this with Ryan Coogler, and also Essence Magazine as well. Black Panther director Ryan Coogler mistaken for robber in Atlanta. Corporate office for Bank of America said, we deeply regret that this incident occurred. Bank of America said in a statement about the episode on January 7th, 2022, it never should have happened, and we have apologized to Mr. Coogler. All right. Let's go to clip number 1, Jalen. Here's what happened. Now, what's interesting, this footage that they have from Good Morning America, they actually show the bank employees and African American, right? They're wearing masks, like COVID-19 masks, but they actually show the Bank of America employees. Let's go to this clip.
Black Panther Director Ryan Coogler handcuffed by police after being mistaken for a robber at an Atlanta bank. This incident was all caught on camera. ABC Steve Olsen told me is in Atlanta with more and what the bank is saying. This is a shocking, a bizarre, and really unfortunate incident here. Steve.
Good morning to you, TJ. This is the Bank of America branch where this movie director was trying to withdraw cash. Atlanta police this morning would like to underline that they were just responding to a call of a bank robbery and say that there was even a car running and waiting outside these bank doors. Bank of America this morning is saying that what you're seeing in this police body camera video should never have happened.
You got weapons on you, buddy? I got nothing on me, bro.
On January 7th, people working at one of their banks on the north end of Atlanta called police, saying that the man seen here in the green sweatshirt being put in handcuffs was trying to rob the bank, which wasn't true at all.
If you run my name, you understand why you should bring out these cuts.
What the bank didn't immediately realize is that this is 35-year-old movie director Ryan Coogler, a very successful and wealthy filmmaker who doesn't need to rob banks.
What up, right?
In fact, the first film he directed was Fruitvale Station, which told the true story of a racially charged police encounter in California where a young black man was killed.
I got other plans in my life, and this wasn't part of it.
He directed actors Michael B. Jordan and Sylvester Stallone in the boxing movie Creed. And in 2018, he broke box office records directing Black Panther for Disney, which remains the most profitable film ever with a black director. It's why he was here in Atlanta in January, filming the sequel to the film. The incident started when he walked into the bank fully masked with a black hat and sunglasses and gave the bank teller a withdrawal slip. On the back of the slip was this note obtained by TMZ saying, "I would like to withdraw $12,000 cash from my checking account. Please do the money count somewhere else. I'd like to be discreet." The bank teller and nearly every other person in this incident was also African American, but she didn't recognize that he was a famous Hollywood director. In the police videos, she tells officers that when she asked questions, he kept quietly pointing her to the note.
He just kept pointing. He's like, "Look at the note." So I'm like, okay. And so I said, "Do you have your ID?" He did give me his ID. It was a California ID. But my stomach started turning. I'm like, okay, this seems odd.
She also says he gave them his Bank of America account card, but they still called police.
I have police en route,
Are you able to see if he's still there?
I don't want to really turn the corner.
When police came, they explained in their report that they determined this was a, quote, mistake by Bank of America, and that Mr. Coogler was never in the wrong. He and the two people he was here with were released.
I stated to the officers that arrested me that had their Glocks out. Yeah. That I was putting money on my own account. I understand. We have to confirm that because of the seriousness of the call, we don't just come out, and unfortunately in a situation like that, you don't get the benefit of the doubt. We detain and then we ask questions later.
In a statement, Bank of America says that we deeply regret that this incident occurred. We have apologized to Mr. Coogler. The director tells ABC News that Bank of America worked with me and addressed it to my satisfaction, and we have moved on. Banks often have thresholds for withdrawals that trigger warnings to managers, usually above $10,000. And police believe that that's one of the things that happened here. Guys?
One of the things. All right. And again, it was important to note that he wasn't mistaken for somebody else who was the bank robber. They actually thought he was the bank robber trying to withdraw his own money. So, but he says he's okay with it. So
yeah, he said that he had already resolved this with Bank of America, and he was good with it. All right.
Okay, pause right there. Okay, so that was from Good Morning America. They had they covered that story, so they did a good job with that. So we talked about it on Roland Martin Unfiltered also. And so I had to edit some of this as well because of Roland's language, but we're going to go to that in just a second. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. So I want to look at this piece here from New York Times. So one of the things that's important to understand is there are certain checks that you need to do when you deal with people's ID and accounts, things like this. Apparently that didn't happen here. Bank of America has apologized to Director Ryan Coogler after he was assumed to be a bank robber and briefly handcuffed by the police while trying to withdraw money from a Bank of America branch in Atlanta in January 2022. It was in Buckhead, okay, in the Atlanta area. Now, Mr. Coogler, Ryan Coogler, best known for directing Black Panther, handed a teller a withdrawal slip on January 7th, asking for more than $10,000 with a note on the back asking her to be discreet when handing him the cash, according to a police report. Now, Ryan Coogler also had his California state ID as well as his Bank of America card when he approached the teller. Both Ryan Coogler and the teller are African American. So is apparently the branch manager is as well. The teller, quote unquote, received an alert from Ryan Coogler's account and quickly advised her manager that he was trying to rob the bank branch in the Buckhead section of Atlanta, the report states. Okay. Now, also in the article from Essence Magazine, it says that at the time, the woman who is African American was pregnant as well. Okay, so let's go to this clip here from Roland Martin Unfiltered, Jalen. Clip number 2.
Because she freaked out, and frankly, she saw a black man asking for $12,000, and she immediately thought he's a robber. Yeah. And I don't know if the manager's white or black. That's a dumbass manager as well. Because if I was a manager, I would have said, "Can you let me see the note?" And I probably would have said, "Hey, fool, it says withdraw out of cash out of my account. Did you put a PIN number in? Yeah. Did he show his license? Yeah. Did his license match the information on the screen? Yeah. What's your dumb ass coming to my office for? No, they call a cop, and that man could have got shot."
She way overreacted. Everybody involved made huge errors that imperiled his life, and I hope he sues Bank of America and gets a significant settlement, because if you bank at Bank of America, you know they have you put in your debit card and a PIN. He provided a driver's license. All she had to do was ask him to remove his sunglasses and open his mask. and she could see that's the same person that correlates to the driver's license, that correlates to the information on the screen. And if you notice, what did the 911 dispatcher say? She said, so wait, you didn't verify his information, but she still sent 2 cops. Why doesn't she say, just go get your manager and verify his information? I don't understand why the dispatcher even sent police officers to respond to this. And beyond that, why the police officers didn't just say, hey, man, we got a call. Understand you're wearing sunglasses and a mask. It's a pandemic. Just show us that you're the same person on the driver's license. He shouldn't have to do that after he's already followed Bank of America's policies to, bring up his account. But going to their guns is just absurd. It's absurd. He shouldn't have to be outside explaining himself, particularly when he's as high profile as he is. He did what any person would do wanting to withdraw a substantial sum of money.
What I'm trying to understand is, where does it state in police procedures, Michael, that you get called and when you arrive, you have there is no information. There is zero information that says that this man is a threat.
Okay, we're going to pick this up on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. And we're celebrating our 12th year anniversary of broadcasting the African History Network show as well. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by, everybody. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. All right, we got Sharon, we have Juanita, we have TT. All right. If you want to support the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App. Also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. Stand by. Back from break in 3 minutes. We have a new online course that you can register for as well. It is Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. So I'm going to give you that information here in just a second. I had to pull that link up. Back from break in 2 minutes. Okay, stand by. What are we doing? This is right here. Back from break in 2 minutes. Back from break in 1 minute. Back from break in 1 minute. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, March 13th, 2022, and we are live. Okay, so right before the break, we were talking about the story that came out this week about Ryan Coogler. Now, Luckily, an officer like Derek Chauvin did not show up to the scene. And everything has been handled to the satisfaction of Ryan Coogler. He put out a statement regarding this. TMC was the one that broke the story. This took place January 7th, 2022. All right. Now, we also talked about it. We also talked about it on Roland Martin Unfiltered. And if you could just back that clip up about 30 seconds or so, Jalen, if you haven't already done that. We talked about this on Roland Martin Unfiltered when I was on Friday, right? So I want to go back to this clip.
Money. What I'm trying to understand is there doesn't state in police procedures, Michael, that you get called and when you arrive, you have there is no information. There is zero information that says that this man is a threat. So why when he turns around, is the cop behind him pulling his gun out of his holster?
Right. Yeah, I think that's an overreaction there. So I talked about this story last night on the African History Network show, Roland. And, luckily, a police officer like Derek Chauvin didn't show up because this really could have gone the wrong direction quickly. So there's a couple of things here. Number one, if people look at the article from the New York Times on this, it appears that Ryan Coogler has an alert on his bank account that gives a alert notification that somebody tries to withdraw more than $10,000. And what appears that happened is that when the alert went off, it freaked the teller out. She immediately went to her manager and advised her manager that somebody was trying to rob the bank.
Wait. Here's the problem. The alert is meant to make sure that if somebody is withdrawing more than 10 grand, you check.
I'm coming to that, Roland. I'm coming to that. But the problem is that she freaked out and she didn't verify his ID with his name on it, with the name of the account, and he also gave her his debit card.
Fire her ass. Fire her.
So it's like, I've never managed a bank before. I managed a retail management retail management store, and there's a process that you have to go through to verify certain things, and you got to go through that process before you call the police.
Fire her. I don't care if she black. Fire her. If you too dumb, you can't read a note, and then you can't check an ID, and you can't figure it out, you should not be. If you that scared, take your ass and go work somewhere else in the bank, go on in the back office. You should not be dealing with people again. But you see the video, the man could have been shot. This could have gone a different way.
All right. Okay. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number. So, so yes, she's African American. Most of the people there at the bank branch were African American. So, once again, you have to check. So he had a California license. All right. And you should know, and it's now here's one of the things that people should understand. A lot of movies are being filmed in Atlanta now, and some TV shows also. So you could very well have people from all over the country coming to Atlanta. And the reason why Ryan Coogler was in Atlanta is because he's filming Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. When Black Panther when they filmed Black Panther in 2017 and came out in 2018, it pumped about $89 million into the Atlanta economy because a lot of the film Black Panther was filmed in Atlanta, and it was filmed at Tyler Perry's studios. That actually Black Panther was the first movie filmed at Tyler Perry's new studios. Okay. And they're filming Black Panther 2 in Atlanta also. So, they should be on alert that, look, it's going to be a lot of people who are going to be in town, and they could be from all over the country. They should be on alert for that. There was an article from which outlet was this that talked about this, because I did a lot of research on the film Black Panther for the lectures that I did on it. Okay, and there was I'm trying to pull this article up here. They want to play an ad. There was an article from Deadline.com that dealt with Black Panther generates $89.3 million for Georgia economy. Okay. This is from February 7th, 2018. I don't know how many people saw this. If you've been watching the African History Network show, you know, we've been on for 12 years. We've been watching the African History Network show. You know, we talked about this here on this show because we deal with real substance. This one here, they've got this, I guess they're trying to make money. They got this ad that stays on the screen for 14 seconds before you can go to what it is you want. February 7th, 2018. Black Panther generates $89.3 million for Georgia economy. Okay. And most of the movie took place, was filmed in Atlanta. And they talked about 3,000. If you look at this here, okay, Black Panther continues to do amazing things. Hold on, let me see. Black Panther continues to do amazing things. During a special screening of the movie, MPAA Chairman and CEO Charles Rifkin highlighted the contributions of the Marvel Studios production. The Marvel Studios production of the movie Black Panther made to Georgia, as it generated $83.9 million for the state's economy. Okay, so they were mainly in Atlanta because Tyler Perry Studios are in Atlanta. They were filming at his studios. The event was a community screening of the highly anticipated superhero movie for the film's local crew. Rifkin also pointed out that the film contributed over $26.5 million in wages to more than 3,100 workers across Georgia. The film Black Panther, there's a lot of black people make money from the film Black Panther. I know it was dumbass memes floating around saying black people didn't make no money off of Black Panther. No, you didn't make any money off of Black Panther. That's what it was. How did you position yourself? We found out in 2016 that the movie was coming out. Actually, before then, to go back to about 2014. Those black people that made money off the movie Black Panther, one of them was Tyler Perry. The movie was filmed at his studios. How did you position yourself to make money off the film and you knew it was coming? emceed by Georgia Attorney General and former Commissioner of the Georgia Department of Economic Development, Chris Carr, the event also featured a surprise appearance from Nick Fury himself, Samuel L. Jackson. Okay, so read this. So just the fact that it was like 3,100 workers that benefited from this in Georgia, things like this, and they're filming the movie, you know, in January, they should be on alert at Bank of America and say, look, you know, you can have a lot of people coming in from out of state that have Bank of America bank accounts. So somebody needs some more training. You know, that's all that is. Somebody needs some more training. Somebody else that needs more training could be Judge James Lynn. Judge James Lynn, who sentenced Jussie Smollett. So I watched the sentencing, and most legal experts didn't think Jussie Smollett was going to get any jail time. I mean, it's not like he killed somebody. You know, it was dumb. And we talked about this Thursday. I mean, I think he did it. You know, but still, he shouldn't do any jail time over this. I want to go to this clip here. Which one is this? This is clip number. Let's go to clip number 3. Jalen. This is what happened in court on last Thursday. Let's go to this clip.
Tonight, more than 3 years after he allegedly staged a hate crime on himself, Jussie Smollett spending the night behind bars. Judge James Lynn sentencing Smollett to 30 months probation, including 150 days in the Cook County Jail, over $120,000 restitution to the city of Chicago, and a $25,000 fine.
I don't think there is anything funny at all about hoaxing and faking racial hate crimes.
Earlier in the hearing, the disgraced actor turned convicted felon declined to speak on his own behalf. In 2019, Smollett claimed two masked men hurled racial and homophobic slurs at him, threw chemicals at the Empire Star, and tied a noose around his neck.
You're not a victim of a hate crime. You're not a victim of a racial hate crime. You're not a victim of homophobic hate crime. You're just a charlatan pretending to be a victim of a hate crime.
Smollett has repeatedly denied he made it all up after sentencing, still proclaiming he did nothing wrong. The judge telling Smollett he doesn't believe he did it for money, but for attention.
I don't think money motivated you at all. But the only thing I can find is that you really craved the attention and you wanted to get the attention.
Smollett was immediately remanded to jail, shouting as he exited the courtroom.
I am not suicidal. I am not suicidal, and I am innocent. I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago.
Smollett's defense team submitted more than 80 letters defending the actor, including from civil rights leaders. The judge says he considered those letters, but still felt this sentence was necessary.
All right, we'll pick this up on the other side of the break. Also, this was crazy right here, because when I watched the judge, it took him about 40 minutes to sentence him, and you can tell he had, it was personal for the judge. It seemed like he really has something against Jussie Smollett. We'll deal with this on the other side of the break. You listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. How's everybody doing? Share this broadcast on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in. Stand by. Back from break in 3 minutes. Back from break in 2 minutes. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, March 13th, 2022, and we are live. All right, be sure to register for the online class I teach, online classes I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. And from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. And we also have a new class starting up on Saturday, March 19th, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. So it's 2 consecutive Saturdays. It's a total of 4 hours. We'll deal with over 100 African women, African American women in our history, from antiquity to ancient deities to those in civil rights, abolitionists, scientists, medicine, politicians, entertainers, the arts, everything. Okay. So we'll have that at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. I'll post a link here in just a minute. But also, on Saturdays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I teach Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. And on Sundays, from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. So we deal with thousands of years of history. We deal with what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place as well. So the class is on sale. $60, regularly $130. And I'm going to update, I'm going to refresh the screen here. The class is on sale, $60, regularly $130. We have a bundle pack where you can register for both classes for $100 also. So that's at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And then a new class, Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. You'll be able to register for that there as well. If you've taken any of my classes in the past, email me at TheAHNShow at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You'll get 50% off on the 2 courses. Okay, so we have those here. All right, I want to go back to the story dealing with Jussie Smollett. So I talked about this on Thursday show because it happened Thursday. Which was March 10th. And it seemed like, is there anything left in that clip? Is there more to that clip that we were playing, Jalen? Okay, we finished the clip. All right. So I'm going to go to clip number 4 here in just a second. If we look at the article here from NBC News. I think it's the one from NBC News that I want to look at. There was also a good one from BuzzFeed News as well. We'll probably look at the one from BuzzFeed News here. So now, regardless of what you think, whether he did it or whether he was attacked by the Osundawa brothers, or whether it was 2 white guys, 2 mysterious white guys that haven't been caught that attacked him. Okay, regardless of what you think, getting 150 days in Cook County Jail and nobody was hurt. I mean, the only person that was hurt was Jussie Smollett, really. After Jussie Smollett sentenced to 150 days in jail, thousands in fines for falsely reporting a hate crime, This is from the Washington Post from March 10th, 2022. After Jussie Smollett was sentenced to 150 days in Cook County Jail for staging and falsely reporting to police that he was the victim of a hate crime in Chicago. The former Empire star, 39 years old, was found guilty on 5 of 6 charges of disorderly conduct in December, nearly 3 years after the incident. Cook County Judge James Lynn, who's a white male, for those that don't know, also sentenced Jussie Smollett to 30 months of felony probation, ordered him to pay $120,106 in restitution to the city of Chicago, as well as a fine of $25,000. Okay, so he did all that, and on top of all that, he gave him the first 150 days or the 30 days on probation. He'll serve in the Cook County Jail. Now, while on probation, Judge James Lynn said Jussie Smollett will be allowed to travel outside of Illinois due to the nature of his job. Smollett, who declined to speak before receiving his sentence, loudly repeated after the fact that he was not suicidal and warned that if anything happens to him in jail, it was not self-inflicted. Let's go to clip number 4, Jalen.
In the last few, right behind us here in a Cook County courtroom, Jussie Smollett was remanded into custody. He has been sentenced to 30 months probation, which will include 150 days, which he will have to spend behind bars here at the Cook County Jail. He was just taken into custody. He was screaming as he was escorted out of the courtroom, "I am not suicidal," and continuing to proclaim his innocence. He will also have to pay over $120,000 in restitution. He faces a $25,000 fine. And again, he is now going to be spending the night, as of now, behind bars in the Cook County Jail. We want to show you now what has unfolded over the last several hours here today.
Court's in session.
In court today, prosecutors sharing a letter from the city of Chicago and its police department speaking to the damage Smollett has done.
A cost that can never be measured. It's a harm caused by reducing the likelihood of actual victims of hate crimes willing to report these crimes.
The city also claiming Smollett's hoax cost police more than $130,000 in overtime to chase down a threat that didn't exist. Today sentencing the latest chapter of a bizarre, years-long legal saga. In 2019, Smollett claimed 2 masked men hurled racial and homophobic slurs at him, threw chemicals at the Empire Star, and tied a noose around his neck. There were doubts the incident was legitimate, but he spoke out about the alleged attack.
If I had said it was a Muslim or Mexican or someone black, I feel like the doubters would have supported me a lot.
Soon after, Chicago police announced Smollett staged the whole thing with 2 associates.
Why would anyone, especially an African-American man, use a symbol of a noose to make false accusations?
His associates, the Osundairo brothers, testified against the actor, saying Smollett paid them to attack him outside his Chicago home.
Okay, pause it right there. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation and Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. We'll continue this on the other side of the break. We also talked about this on Roland Martin Unfiltered when I was on Friday. I'm going to share a segment of that with you as well. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. We're also celebrating our 12th year anniversary of me broadcasting the African History Network show. You listen to 910 AM Superstation and Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. Okay. Back for break in 4 minutes, everybody. I have to get ready for this next segment. Bathroom break in 2 minutes. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, March 13th, 2022, and we are live. All right, Jalen, let's go back to that clip. We're talking about Jussie Smollett and what happened in court on Thursday, March 10th. All right, and when after he was sentenced, he said that he was not suicidal, etc. Let's go back to that clip, Jalen.
Smollett testified there was no hoax. The jury convicted him. Smollett's defense submitted over 80 letters in support of leniency. Today, his older brother and 92-year-old grandmother speaking directly to the judge.
Jussie does not have malice or hatred toward anyone, and it is truly unfortunate that his reputation has received so many negative connotations.
I ask you, the judge, not to send him to prison. If you do, send me along with him.
And Jesse Kurtz back with us live from Chicago. Jesse, you mentioned that there was an outburst from Smollett as he was led away. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I want to read to you his final words as he was escorted out of the courtroom by the justice officials. I am not suicidal. I am not suicidal, and I am innocent. I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago, and this is significant, Gabe, for multiple reasons. First off, earlier in the proceeding, Smollett was asked directly by the judge if he wanted to say anything. Smollett's legal team had said he was not going to make any comments alluding to the possibility of an appeal, and Smollett declined to speak earlier. And also, the judge, as well as the prosecution, had been pointing out that because Smollett has been convicted, he essentially perjured himself when he testified in court, saying that there was no hoax. And again, Smollett's final words as he was escorted out of the courtroom, convicted and now sentenced to time behind bars, were that he was still innocent. Gabe?
And Jesse, I'm being told that we now have part of that outburst. Let's play it.
So I would just like to say, Your Honor, that I am not suicidal. That's what I was saying. Okay. I am not suicidal. Okay. I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fear of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years, and the fear of the LGBT community. Your Honor, I respect you, and I respect the jury, but I cannot do this.
Smollett right there just moments ago, the breaking news. Has there been any reaction from his family at this point?
We do expect to hear from his defense attorney outside of the courtroom. Now the proceedings are wrapping up, and you could tell as we were watching things unfolding there in the courtroom, Gabe, that his defense team was trying to get the judge to allow that jail time to be suspended for the time being. But Smollett was taken out of the courtroom by those involved with the courts here. So we're going to look for more reaction from his family. But we know that his family, his supporters, have been pleading for leniency, pleading for the judge to not sentence him to any time behind bars, but the judge clearly took that into consideration as well as other factors and came up with what he decided was the proper sentence.
All right, so that was from NBC News also. So if we're going to clip 5 that I just sent you, Jalen, from Roland Martin Unfiltered. We'll go into that here in just a second. So his sister, Jussie Smollett, is asking for him to be freed. This piece from March 12th from deadline.com. Jussie Smollett calls for Cook County to hashtag free Jussie, following brother Jussie Smollett's Thursday sentencing. Okay, so you can check that out. Actress Jussie Smollett has called for Cook County to free hashtag free Jussie on the heels of her brother Jussie Smollett's Thursday sentencing to 150 days. She posted on Instagram, Black Americans are incarcerated in state prisons at nearly 5 times the rate of white Americans. Jussie is innocent. She's his younger sister. Yeah, I follow her on Instagram, so I saw the post before this article came out. She went on to say, and you don't have to believe in his innocence to believe he should be free. Okay, right? Because that's true. That's good that she added that in there. That's true. Yeah, he should not be in jail. That's a 4th level felony. Nobody was hurt. Now, it's not like he beat somebody up, anything like that. Okay, so read the rest of this here. Then, okay, so let's go to this clip here. This is from, let me cue this up here. This is from Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday. Now, Roland interviewed 2 of Jussie Smollett's brothers. All right. You can watch that yourself at Roland Martin on Facebook and YouTube. That's from March 11th. Friday. Watch the Friday, March 11th show, 2022. You can watch that. Let's go to this clip, Roland, because Roland comes to me. I'm on the panel and we discuss what's taking place. Let's go to this clip.
That is the right thing to do. Now, if it turns out that it's untrue, you still acted in good faith, and I don't think people will penalize folks for trying to do the right thing.
Michael, the thing that, again, interesting, it was very interesting to see that letter that Kim Foxx dropped, stating her position. And frankly, she should. I mean, that was an assault on her office, their integrity, and what she was elected to do by the voters of Cook County. And we elected.
Absolutely. And once again, Roland, we've seen an attack on progressive prosecutors across the country. I actually read the letter that Kim Foxx wrote that's in the Chicago Sun-Times, and we have seen attacks, whether it's in St. Louis, whether it's Marilyn Mosby in Baltimore, etc. But as Kim Foxx lays out in this letter, prosecutors have a lot of discretion that they can utilize, number one. Number two, there are hundreds of cases where you have very low-level felonies that, people pay a fine, they do community service. This was, Jussie had forfeited his $10,000 bond. He was going to do 2 days community service, and this was going to be over with. But it seemed like the police department and maybe some higher-ups in Chicago didn't want to let this go. Superintendent Eddie Johnson went on Good Morning America, and I think that was after Jussie Smollett went on Good Morning America. Jussie Smollett did go on Good Morning America as well. But if you sit back and say you don't live in Chicago, you sit back and you look at this, you say, wait a second, this is all over somebody who allegedly set up a hoax on himself. It's not like he killed somebody, okay? Because I watched your broadcast live yesterday, Roland, with the Judge James Lynn, when he's giving his sentencing. And after he went on 25, 30 minutes, I was like, did I miss the sentencing? And then he kept going. And if you compare that to Judge Regina Chu in sentencing Kim Potter, Judge Regina Chu had more sympathy for Kim Potter, who killed Daunte Wright and did not provide any medical assistance for Daunte Wright, and he dies, then
All right,
Okay,
folks, I want to
pause
turn
it
to
right
our
there,
next
man.
story, and that
Pause
is
it right there. Okay. Okay. Somebody on Facebook said no audio. You should be able to hear it. Okay. So that's from Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday. Now, a couple of updates here, and I know we're coming up on a break. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. So WGN TV has an update, and this came out March 11th. It was Friday. Jussie Smollett to spend jail sentence in protective custody. Jussie Smollett to spend jail sentence in protective custody. And I'm going to pull this up here. This is from WGN TV there in Chicago. And if we can go to this here, where is that? Okay. Jussie Smollett's time in Cook County Jail will be spent in protective custody, away from the jail's general population, court records show. Okay. And we're going to try to pull this up here on the screen so you can see this. Cook County Judge James Lynn agreed with Smollett's attorney's recommendation that the former Empire actor be kept away from most of the other 6,000 inmates of the sprawling jail complex in Little Village. It's known for being a rough jail. Okay, it ain't federal prison. It's not federal jail. All right. So let's go to this here. If we can close out these videos. All right, let's continue. So the order granting protective custody was entered shortly after Judge James Lynn sentenced Jussie Smollett to 150 days for lying to police about a phony, racist, and homophobic hate crime. They found him guilty. He orchestrated on himself in January 2019. So he's been ordered to pay the city $120,000 in restitution, also a $25,000 fine. Jussie Smollett's sentence is eligible for day-for-day credit. His sentence is eligible for day-for-day credit, meaning he could spend 75 days behind bars before he's released. He could spend, his sentence is eligible for day-for-day credit, meaning Jussie Smollett could spend 75 days behind bars before he's released. Lawyers for Jussie vowed to appeal the ruling that has put the former Empire actor behind bars. Now, a jury found Smollett, 39, guilty last December on 5 counts of disorderly conduct, a class 4 felony, the lowest in Illinois, okay, the lowest in the state of Illinois, which carried a maximum of 3 years in prison. But he has no priors, so he shouldn't go to jail for being stupid. I mean, he shouldn't go to jail for this. Before announcing the sentence, James Lynn credited Jussie Smollett for his past charitable work, but said another side of the actor is quote profoundly arrogant and selfish and narcissistic, end quote. The judge went too far. All that wasn't necessary. All that wasn't necessary. Okay, so read the rest of this here. This is WGN Channel 9 in Chicago. Jussie Smollett will be held in protective custody. Okay. I mentioned the op-ed article that Cook County prosecutor Kim Fox wrote for the Chicago Sun-Times. We're going to take a look at that when we come back from the break. We talked about it on Roland Martin Unfiltered. We're going to take a look at that because I read it. And she talks about the attack on progressive prosecutors, especially African-American progressive prosecutors, especially African-American female progressive prosecutors like she is. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number. If you have a question or comment, we'll go to the phone lines when we come back from the break. Listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep, our anniversary show, 12th year anniversary. 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. All right, stand by, everybody. Back from break in 4 minutes. Back from break in 3 minutes. Back from break in 2 minutes. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. All right. So right before the break, we were talking about Jussie Smollett's sentencing. 30 months probation first, 150 days. He is doing it at the Cook County Jail. Okay. And this is, I mean, that's just ridiculous. Okay. There's no need for him to go to jail over that. Okay, we're going to go to the phone lines here in just a second. I want to look at the article here from that Kim Fox wrote. Okay. And this piece from Kim Fox is for the Chicago Sun-Times. We talked about it on Roland Martin Unfiltered when I was on Friday, and you heard me talk about it in the segment I just shared with you. Kim Fox in Jussie Smollett case, our justice system failed. Here's why. Our justice system failed. Here's why. Now, remember, when Kim Fox was handling this case, it was agreed that Jussie Smollett would it was agreed that Jussie Smollett would forfeit his $10,000 bond and do 2 days community service, and this was a done deal. Okay. This is from March 10th, 2022. And I'm just going to highlight a couple of things here, then we'll go to the phone lines here. On Thursday, the damaging, costly, and disingenuous criminal prosecution of Jussie Smollett came to an end. This is Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx writing this. These are her words. As Cook County State's Attorney, it pains me deeply to say that. In this particular case, our justice system failed. In this particular case, our justice system failed. Chicagoans deserve to know how and why it can and likely will happen again across the country. Okay, so then she lays out January 2019, Mr. Smollett reported that he had been the victim of a hate crime, blah, blah, blah. Then at the time, Superintendent Eddie Johnson of the police Superintendent Eddie Johnson flew to New York City for a live interview on Good Morning America. Now, Jussie Smollett did an interview on Good Morning America also. I think Jussie Smollett's interview was, Jussie Smollett's interview was before Eddie Johnson's, but anyway, they both did interviews on Good Morning America. He flew to New York City, Eddie Johnson, for a live interview on Good Morning America to discuss the evidence and Jussie Smollett's assumed guilt prior to formal charges being filed. Given the reputational price Jussie Smollett paid, the damage to his reputation, given the reputational price Jussie Smollett paid, the $10,000 bond we held, and the fact that he had never been accused of a violent crime, my office made the decision not to further pursue a criminal conviction. This story should have ended there, as thousands upon thousands of non-prosecuted cases do every day. And at the time, she said, look, these cases like this get pleaded all the time and no jail time is given. They may do community service, they may be put on probation, something like that. There's no jail time. Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx goes on to say, instead, taxpayers have since spent millions of dollars for the criminal prosecution of a hoax. Taxpayers have since spent millions of dollars for the criminal prosecution of a hoax. Last year, 2021, alone, there were over 800 murders in Chicago. My administration has vacated over 177 wrongful convictions. Her administration has vacated over 177 wrongful convictions, 87 of those wrongful convictions in the last 3 years. Rather than working collaboratively to stem the rising crime or free the wrongly convicted, a small group of people hijacked the judicial system to enact what is best described as mob justice. Now, I think on Thursday's show, I described it as a high-tech lynching. That's what it seemed like to me. It seemed like a non-violent high-tech lynching. That's what it seemed like to me. Let's go to the phone lines. Who we have on line one, Jalen?
Well, no callers at this time.
Oh, okay. Call back 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. So Kim Foxx goes on to say, no abuse of discretion standard. No abuse of discretion standard. And she talks about how prosecutors have a lot of discretion that they can exercise. But when they're black, all of a sudden, it's a problem unless they let cops get off, like Daniel Cameron in Kentucky with the officers who were involved in Breonna Taylor being killed. And we know today is the anniversary of Breonna Taylor being killed. March 13th, 2020. So Kim Foxx, Cook County State's attorney, elected by the people, a progressive prosecutor, she goes on to say, sadly, these tactics are becoming common. Black women elected prosecutors around the country have faced the same mob mentality. Black women elected prosecutors around the country have faced the same mob mentality. In Boston, the district attorney, Rachel Rollins, chose not to prosecute 36 people arrested for peacefully protesting a discriminatory charade called the Straight Pride Parade. Okay, so they weren't like doing like the January 6th insurrectionists. A lot of those domestic terrorists, all of them weren't domestic terrorists. Some of them just walked in the building, walked around, looked around, walked out, didn't hurt anybody. Others were domestic terrorists. Okay, well, these people, these 36 protesters, they didn't do that. They were just protesting, peacefully protesting. In an attempted end run around District Attorney Rachel Rollins' prosecutorial discretion, a crusading municipal court judge pursued charges anyway and was stopped only by the Massachusetts Supreme Court. So what we see here now, in this case here with Jussie Smollett, this was a done deal with Cook County State's attorney Kim Foxx, but then a special prosecutor was brought in to take a second look at the case, and then they brought charges against Jussie Smollett after it was a done deal by the black prosecutor. In St. Louis, opponents of Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner, we talked about Kim Gardner here on the show before. In St. Louis, opponents of Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner are working to revoke her law license as retribution for her decision to prosecute former Missouri Governor Eric Greitens, who was accused of taking nude photographs of a woman he had tied up. Charges against former Missouri Governor Eric Greitens was eventually dropped. In Jussie Smollett's case, the mob was relentless, organized, and effective. In Jussie Smollett's case, the mob was relentless, organized, and effective. A judge appointed a special prosecutor with an unlimited budget to reopen the investigation into a nonviolent Hollywood actor, a nonviolent black gay Hollywood actor. A complete disregard for the discretion that prosecutors must have to be effective and independent. As a former prosecutor, Daniel Webb, who's the special prosecutor brought in, as a former prosecutor, Daniel Webb knows that prosecutors have that power, and more importantly, knows there is no abuse of discretion. More importantly, she says that Daniel Webb, a former prosecutor, knows that there is no abuse of discretion standard here in this case. In fact, the Supreme Court has recognized the wide discretion of prosecutors, and that courts should defer to the original prosecutorial decision. The U.S. Supreme Court has recognized the wide discretion of prosecutors like Kim Foxx, and that courts should defer to the original prosecutorial decision. Now, Special Prosecutor Daniel Webb knows this and could refer to his friend Bill Barr's own remarks. Bill Barr, Donald Trump's second attorney general. Just because we don't like the outcome should not mean we bully prosecutors and circumvent the judicial process to get it changed. Jussie Smollett was indicted, tried, and convicted by a kangaroo prosecution in a matter of months. This is Cook County State's attorney Kimberly Fox calling the prosecution of Jussie Smollett a kangaroo prosecution. Meanwhile, the families of more than 50 Black women murdered in Chicago over the last 20 years await justice. We'll continue this on the other side of the break. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. This is our 12th year anniversary. This is the type of shows we've been having for 12 years. You listen to 910 AM Superstation WFDF. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. All right, stand by. How's everybody doing? T-Boss, CB, Shutters Broadcasting on social media platforms, Deborah Short, DeLillo, Kenya, TT, Lila. All right, if you all like the type of information, also you can support the African History Network, $ TheAHN Show through Cash App, $ TheAHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/TheAHN Show. Stand by, back from break in 4 minutes. Okay, I'm going to post the information here. You can register for the new online class, Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. It's $25. There's bonus content that you can start watching as soon as you register. The class is going to be Saturday, March 19th, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. and Saturday, March 26th, 2 consecutive Saturdays. So I just posted the link there. We'll have it at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com also. As soon as you register, there's bonus content that you can start watching. Back from break in 1 minute. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. All right, I want to let you know about the new online class that we have coming up Saturday, March 19th, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Saturday, March 26th. This is Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. This is a 4-hour online class. It's $25. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. We'll deal with over 100 different profiles on great African women all throughout history, and African American women all throughout history, from antiquity to ancient deities like Set and Ma'at and Neet, to African women who were queens, to those who were pioneers in various fields like in medicine, in science, in politics, the arts, in politics, all different aspects, okay, sports, etc. So visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register for that. We just posted the link here on the thread of the broadcast. Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. And this is a much expanded version of a lecture I first started doing in 2017, but We're going to cover some women that I haven't even covered before. So you don't want to miss this. Saturday, March 19th and Saturday, March 26th, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can register for it right now. We just posted the link. And we know March is Women's History Month, but we're going to deal with some great African women in history. Okay, let's go back to this article. Now, who did not read this article, who did not know about this article that I shared with you from Cook County State's Attorney Kimberly Fox that is published in the Chicago Sun-Times? Okay, who did not know about this? That's why it's important to support this show, okay, because this is the type of information, all that he said, she said, who slept with who, Pebbles told Cookie what she thought she heard, all that stuff. We don't have time for that. We deal with real substance here, okay? Okay, so Cook County State's Attorney Kimberly Fox called the prosecution of Jussie Smollett a kangaroo prosecution. She said, meanwhile, the families of more than 50 Black women murdered in Chicago over the last 20 years await justice. The families of more than 50 Black women murdered in Chicago over the last 20 years await justice. Along with the way the same special prosecutor pursued a targeted, predetermined investigation of my involvement with the case, knowing I had done nothing wrong, but that objecting to the process would be painted as guilt. Objecting to the process would be painted as guilt, I cooperated. Predictably, the probe found no criminal wrongdoing and still, unironically, I don't even know if that's a word, but anyway, still unironically accused me of abuses of discretion. So she's saying the probe that they did into her handling of the Jussie Smollett case found no criminal wrongdoing, but they still accused her of abuses of discretion. It's a playbook attack and marginalize anyone fighting to create a more just system, one that recognizes the rule of law. What is most frustrating is that my cooperation in a process I knew was illegitimate sets a precedent that can be weaponized against progressive prosecutors determined to break the cycle of inevitable outcomes. Further, I worry it will serve as a deterrent to the next generation of prosecutors eager to fight for critical reforms. Anyone interested in an equitable system of justice should be worried too. So this is Cook County State's Attorney Kimberly Fox. This is published in the Chicago Sun-Times. Kim Fox, in Jussie Smollett case, our justice system failed. Here's how and why. The tactics used are becoming common when cases involve progressive prosecutors. I worry it will serve as a deterrent to the next generation of prosecutors eager to fight for critical reforms. Okay, so check this out also. All right, now, 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. Okay, lastly here, there was a article from meaww.com on Judge James Lynn, because I was trying to find some information on him. And I watched Yodita Walde's show on the Black News Channel. I know Yodita, I've interviewed her before when I used to guest host Roland Martin's nationally syndicated radio show. She has Making the Case on the Black News Channel. And I saw her panel that she had on dealing with the sentencing of Jussie Smollett. There was this, so I heard some things about Judge James Lynn, and he is elected by the people. So when he's up for re-election, vote him out of office. I came across this piece here. This deals with who is James Lynn. Who is James Lynn? Judge says Jussie Smollett faked attack to make himself famous. Okay. So there's a key part I want to go to. This is from March 11th, 2022. If we go to, this was page 3. No, I want to go to page 5. Who was the judge in Jussie Smollett's sentencing? Okay, right here. Judge James Lynn was the judge who gave his final ruling in Jussie Smollett's case, in Jussie Smollett's trial. Once reportedly a veteran, the Cook County judge had conducted more bench trials for sex cases than any judge in Cook County. He conducted more bench trials for sex cases than any other judge in Cook County. However, in 2011, Judge James Lynn attracted a lot of controversy after reversing a jury's verdict in the sexual assault case of 3 sisters by a man named Joseph Fultz, F-U-L-T-Z, and convincing him of a far less serious crime. And convincing him of a far less serious crime. According to a report by Injustice Watch, Fultz, and that was Joseph Fultz. Joseph Fultz was given only 18 years in jail, a far cry from the mandatory life sentence he faced if the jury's decision had stood. The report noted, quote, for the Cook County State's Attorney Office, the about face marked a final straw following a series of what prosecutors viewed as unfavorable decisions by Judge James Lynn on sex cases, according to internal office emails and interviews with several former prosecutors, end quote. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this case when Jussie Smollett's attorneys appeal. The article goes on to say, and as a result, in less than 2 years following his controversial handling of Joseph Fultz's case, Judge James Lynn was bounced from at least 25 sex cases using SOJs about 4 times more than the next closest judge, according to an unprecedented analysis of criminal court data. So there's something strange going on here. It appears allegedly with Judge James Lynn. It's something like really strange. It has been said that Judge James Lynn has not overseen a sex case since November 2013. Also, recently, one of the victims of the 2011 case said of the judge that he didn't really, said of the judge, and let me increase the size of this here. Just a second here. Okay. It has been said that Judge James Lynn has not overseen a sex case since November 2013. Also, recently, one of the victims of the 2011 case said the judge of the judge that he didn't really think about the emotional damages that Joseph Fultz left on me or my sisters, or the full nature of how sick he was, end quote. She went on to say, quote, and it's not because of the case, it's because most of the time people don't care about people that look like me or that have my kind of background. That's why so many people take the law into their own hands, end quote. So read the rest of this here. This is at ME. This is name of this article here. Who is James Lynn? Judge says Jussie Smollett faked attack to make himself famous. This is at meaww.com. Listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. When we come back, we'll talk about the impact of the Ukraine-Russia conflict on African countries. We'll be back in a few minutes. All right, stand by. All right, if you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network. $sign the AHN show through Cash App and through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show, paypal.me/the AHN show. This is our 12th year anniversary, so this helps us keep doing the research and stay on the air, keep broadcasting. Thanks for the support. As many of you know, even though I'm here on 9:10 a.m., I don't get paid to do radio. They don't pay me to do the show. So when you support us, this helps us keep doing the research and keep broadcasting the show. Okay, we've got T-Boss, CB, Ali, Deb. Okay, back from break in back from break in 3 minutes. All right, and you can register for the new online class that we have starting up Saturday, September 19th. Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. You can still register for the other classes that are going on. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. And from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Back from break in 2 minutes. Back from break in 1 minute. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 9:10 a.m. Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. This is our anniversary show, 12th year anniversary. Started broadcasting the African History Network show on March 10th, 2022. So we're celebrating our anniversary this weekend and this week. Started out on the Harambe Radio Network, and then shortly after that went to Blog Talk Radio, and still have the Blog Talk Radio account. We still upload the audio podcasts of our shows to Blog Talk Radio. So when you go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and we have the information towards the top of the page about the radio show and me broadcasting here on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. You can click on the link that says listen to podcasts. It takes you to our Blog Talk Radio show. blogtalkradio.com/the African History Network show. We have over 1,000 audio podcasts of my shows going back to 2010. We're also on the iHeartRadio app. Download the iHeartRadio app to your smartphone. Search for the African History Network show. And we have about 300 of my audio podcasts there. Also, you can listen to 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF through the iHeartRadio app if you're outside of Michigan, outside of Detroit. And then I started on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF in January of 2016 on Steve Hood's show, the morning show. We know Steve passed away last year. Cancer is a friend of mine. And then I started my show, the African History Network show, on 9:10 a.m. in April of 2016. So April 2022 would be 6 years of me doing the show here. It'll be 6 years me doing the show here on this station, but 12 years in total. So thanks for the support over the years, everybody. This ain't easy, and I never really planned to be on radio. I was just trying to share information with people. I didn't know I'd be on this for 12 years. If I knew it'd be this hard, if I knew this work would be this hard, I don't know if I would have done it. But anyway, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Rich on line 1. Hey, Rich, welcome to the African History Network show. Thanks for holding. Tell us where you're calling from.
Michael, Rich had no patience.
Oh, okay. All right. We have a lot of callers that call in. So, you call back tomorrow night, Rich. Okay. So I want to go to this next clip here. This Charles Blow, some of the stuff he has is nonsense on Black News Channel, but he does have some good content every now and then. So there was a segment that he did dealing with the impact that the Ukraine-Russia crisis is having on African countries. Let's go to that clip, Jalen. Oh, you know what? I should have told you. Cue it up. Start at about the 2-minute mark. Just start up at about the 2-minute mark. We'll come to that in just a second. Also, people, take a look at this. There's an article that I want you to look at. We'll probably talk about this some on Monday's show. Now, Monday through Friday, we're on 11 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time. We rebroadcast these shows throughout the day on our social media platforms. Also, the African History Network on Facebook and Michael Imhotep on YouTube. There was a good article from the BBC that deals with viewpoint of Ukraine, why African wars get different treatment. Okay, let's go to that clip, Jalen.
The governments in Libya and Central African Republic against insurgencies. Also, Russian forces have aided in human rights abuses in the region, the UN said, though Russia denies all of this. As Putin becomes increasingly isolated, experts say he may try to bolster Russia's relationship with countries in Africa. Kenya, however, was one of the African countries that voted to condemn Russia's invasion. The ambassador to Kenya drew on the history of colonialism to condemn the actions. Joining me now to discuss, Imani Shears, associate professor at George Washington University, and joining me by phone is Clarence Hussein, professor of political science at Howard University. Professor Shears, I want to start with you. I mean, I think it may come as a surprise to people that it's not very clear. It's much more complicated. There's an entanglement between Russia, and to some degree also Ukraine, and many countries on the continent of Africa. Can you expound on what we just discussed in the intro about why those entanglements exist and to what degree they kind of hamper African countries from, well, at least about half of them, from coming on board with condemning this action by Russia?
Yes, sir, Mr. Blow. Thank you so much for having me on this evening. It is critical, the relationship between Russia and African nations in particular is long and in-depth. And what we're seeing right now is a relationship between imperialism and colonialism. So you have African nations that are really looking at the situation in Ukraine and deciding, is this a fight we want to get into? How are we looking at the relationship between our best interests and this global, truly global conflict? And we're seeing that reality is most African nations are really trying to bide their time. They're looking at the fact that with their own countries and with their own struggles and crises and conflicts, whether it be with inflation, whether it be with famine. In the intro, you talked about the Horn of Africa and the conflicts that are currently exacerbated there. You talked about Kenya. We look at countries like Nigeria, South Africa, even the Democratic Republic of Congo. And it's really a strategic move. How do these governments position themselves to make truly what can be a power play. There is clearly a humanitarian crisis occurring at the moment, but we're also talking about nations that have had humanitarian crises, years of war and strife, and the global community have not come to their aid. So it's truly a moment in time and a moment in history where we're seeing that these conflicts, and this particular conflict with Russia and Ukraine and how it's playing on the continent, and it has to be a strategic power play.
All right. Hey, pause it right there, Jalen, because we're running out of time. We'll talk about this more on Monday's show. Okay. And that was from the March 9th edition of Charles Blow's show on the Black News Channel. That was Professor Imani Cheers from George Washington University, Associate Professor Imani Cheers. Okay, and check out this article also from the BBC, bbc.com, that deals with this. We'll talk about this some more Monday and throughout the week. And in the article, it deals with how millions forced to flee in Ethiopia the last 16 months have been held in the north of the country as a result of a conflict in Tigray. More than 2 million people have been forced from their homes. In addition, hundreds of thousands face starvation, and the government has been accused of blocking deliveries of aid and essential medicine, something it denies. Then it goes on and talks about what else? It talks about Tunisia. It talks about Cameroon, and it talks about these different conflicts and displacement of people in different African nations, coups that have taken place. There's been about 6 coups in the past 18 months. This gets very little attention from mainstream media. They may do one story on it, but when I watch MSNBC, they act like Ukraine is the only story taking place right now. They have around the clock coverage on Ukraine. Yes, it can lead to World War III. Yes, it's important. But when we have conflicts in African nations, we see a very different approach from quote unquote mainstream media, which is why African-American owned and African-American targeted media is so important. All right. Be sure to visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Also, you can support the African History Network. $, the AHN show through Cash App, $, the AHN show through Cash App, and through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. You can register for my online classes. And a new one, Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. You can register at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. All right, stand by. Okay, had to disconnect that call. All right. How's everybody doing? Okay, look, you can register for the classes. So we have 3 courses now that you can register for. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement of Black Power, 1865 to 1968. And the new one, Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. And Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization is only $25, okay? So as soon as you register, there's bonus content that you can watch, and that starts Saturday, Saturday, March 19th, and that's going to be 2 consecutive Saturdays, okay? And we do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch them anytime. So even a year from now, you can go back and watch the entire course, okay, for any of these classes you register for. A year from now, you can go back and watch the entire course. All right, so I'm going to post the information. This is the link here for Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. We have some bonus content there. As soon as you register, you can start watching the bonus content. All right, we have to get out of here. Right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.